Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? How you doing? That was 5 Seconds of Summer, Young Blood. I'm Army Sergeant Delon Humphrey, did the DJ Wanye on the Lunchtime Special 2ID Warrior Wednesday. Got a special guest in the studio. I'm going to let him introduce himself right now.
Sergeant Humphreys, it's good to be with you today. I am Chaplain Michale Bell, here from 3rd Brigade, specifically my Unit 167 Armored Regiment, and glad to be with you.
Outstanding. We're going to be talking about some hot, sensitive topics, all right? Relationships and suicide. So keep your ear to the station. We got Chaplain Bell in the studio, and we got some good music coming up. We got Pink right here with What About Us, right here on AFN. Phillips, gone right here. What's going on? The Penwire Show. I'm Army Sergeant Delon Humphrey, DJ Wanye on the Lunchtime Special 2ID Warrior Wednesday. How you doing? I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. I know I got with a group of band members and we had some fun. We played some weird games, but it was fun though. I was with a group of people, and that's all I needed. How was yours, Chaplain Bell?
Oh, it was great, man. It was awesome. I enjoyed being around the soldiers and seeing some of the soldiers actually just have a happy time. A little break for them. Everything was good.
That's what I'm talking about. But I do want to bring some awareness to a serious topic. I'm going to read some stats real quick. All right, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. In 2017, 47,173 Americans died by suicide. In 2017, there were an estimated 1,300,000 suicide attempts. Now, reading those stats and listening to that, what comes to mind for you?
Well, I definitely think that it is a significant conversation for us to have, especially on the heels of the holiday season, because this is actually a time where you see that those statistics that you just read off, they occur. A lot, right? There's this sense of loss, maybe not necessarily within the holiday time frame, but maybe on the back end of the time frame when, we've had this time of being together, connecting and relating, but now everybody's clocking back in at work, and we're getting back to life as we've known it. And there are some individuals, of course, who are among us who don't necessarily have the support that they might need and find themselves in dark places. And so the tendency for suicide to be elevated around this time is definitely something that we need to continually be aware of.
Okay, so you're saying that during the holidays is not as much, you wouldn't say, because they're around people. But after the holidays, people tend to go their separate ways, and you find yourself alone more than before.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it's not necessarily so much the issue of them it actually being on the holiday. One of the contributing factors to those who actually succumb to suicide is that they have been alone. Not only are they wrestling a lot of times with the feeling of loneliness, but that they actually don't have that, as we call it here in the military, that battle buddy. Somebody that actually continues to connect with them, that they feel connected to, and that acts as a lifeline, in those dark spaces that they may actually go through, Now,
as your years of experience, what are some of the things that you've noticed that's been a cause of suicide or attempts of suicide?
Well, I mean, there's quite a number of things. I mean, it's different. I think one of the reasons why it is such a significant task for us to take on as a community and a culture is that suicide happens because of varied reasons, right? It's not the same for everybody. But, of course, issues or individuals who may have issues with drug and alcohol, maybe issues of mental health and that stability that they've been struggling with. It can be financial issues. It can be ruined relationships. It can be so many things that could actually contribute to an individual who actually does kind of succumb to that will or that feeling that they need to end it all in life.
Now if you have any listeners there listening now, where would you tell them to seek help at?
There are a number. Definitely within our military community, we have varied resources. Of course, there is the military crisis line. There is, of course, the National Suicide Prevention. We have varied resources within our own units, whether it is the chaplain or behavioral health or our MFLACs, the marriage, family, and life counseling counselors that are assigned to each unit. Definitely, you should reach out. But I think perhaps most individuals are more comfortable just really kind of seeking attention or a listening ear from someone they're already connected with or in relationship with. So the friend and the battle buddy still is probably the greatest defense that we have against suicide.
I like that. The greatest defense. The person to your left or your right, your battle buddy. That's what I like that. I like that. Continue on the conversation with Chaplain Bell. Up next, we got some Korean spots, your Humphrey spots, and we're going to go with some weather and some Lucas Graham. Keep you into the station, all the updates and all that great stuff.
This is your live weather update.
Camp Casey, 30 degrees, sunny with a high of 35 and a low of 10. Woo! Youngsung, 31 degrees, haze with a high of 34 and a low of 11. We got Osan, Humphreys, 36 degrees, mostly sunny with a high of 37 and a low of 12. Daegu, my peeps, 45 degrees, partly sunny with a high of 46 and a low of 23. And Kusan, we got 41 degrees, sunny with a high of 41 and a low of 22. All right, DOD Community Bank brings you your currency. $1 gets you 1,097 Korean won. If you want to get these updates on the go, download the AFN 360 app on your smart device and have the power of the radio in the palm of your hands. Also, check out afnpacific.net if you're listening to it at work. Continuing on with the music, we got Lucas Graham, Love Someone, right here, AFN, the Eagle, serving America's best. Sometimes you just want to forget, right? All right, guys, what's going on? If you just tuning in, you're dead wrong. I'm Army Sergeant Delon Humphrey, did the DJ Wanye on the Lunchtime Special 2ID Warrior Wednesday. Got Chaplain Bell in the studio from 167 AR 3rd Armored Brigade, the rotational brigade here on the pen. And previously, if you're just tuning in, we're going to be talking about relationships, but before that, we talked about suicide and some ways to get help and some key stats about suicide, some real facts on suicide, all right? And so, sir, it's rare that couples don't run into bumps in, the relationship. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you recognize ahead of time, though, what those problems in your relationships might be, you'll have a better chance in getting past them. Mm-hmm. Now, even though every relationship, has its bumps and downs, of course, successful couples, I believe, learn how to manage those bumps early and keep love going in their relationship. Now, I have a few 7 pinpoints that I think a lot of people can relate with me on this. Communication.
Right.
Money.
Yeah, definitely a big one.
That 3-letter word that starts with the S.
Oh, yeah.
Struggles over home chores.
Yeah, I can see that.
Not making your relationship a priority.
Right.
To me, I've heard that.
Right.
It
is a big one.
Yeah.
It is definitely a big one.
I've heard that a lot. Conflict.
Right.
And trust.
Big one.
Yes, it was a real big one. So, reading those, what sticks out to you?
Normally, always, regardless of what the issues are, there's always this foundational need to make sure that communication is right.
Okay.
I think you lifted up like conflict and disagreements about chores and all of those kind of things. A lot of those still have to be situated in communication, knowing how to communicate to your partner. And not just in a clear way, not just making sure that they understand, but also in a way that they understand you and you understand them. That there's a curriculum, one of the ones that we actually use in Strong Bonds, and anybody can pick it up because it's so widely used now, the 5 love languages.
Yes.
Talks about the languages in which to speak in relationship, right? And communication is definitely a big deal in any kind of relationship. So that's probably with the counselings that I receive or see or try to serve our soldiers' families, that's probably the biggest one.
Okay.
That is always having to be addressed. And probably money would be a big one as well.
Yeah.
Next.
I think that because if you're not financially stable for your future, then that's where the issues will come up into play.
Yeah.
But you recently just you came back from a resort. You said you spoke about strong bonds.
That's right. We did the strong bonds. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys spoke about knowing the partner's past.
Right.
Now, why is that important?
Well, I mean, like there was that old saying, right? When you marry somebody, you not only marry them, but you also marry those whom they've been connected to, most namely their family, how they have been shaped, how they have been formed. It's critically important, I think, in any relationship, especially a successful relationship, to be aware of what an individual's background is, not just the baggage, but the background, what potential, how they have seen the world, what their perspective comes from, those things which actually inspire them or motivate them. Those kind of things are critically important to us, not only not managing our partner, but managing the relationship.
Yeah, don't do that.
Managing the relationship, right? So we're able to be empathetic and compassionate in those areas where, the other may need a little help or assistance. And likewise, all of us have got our weak spots, or weaker spots, and the stronger out of the two knows how to compensate so that you can bring together this great partnership and this team, right? Because it really does take everybody involved in the relationship.
Yeah. So. Now, I do want the listeners to get listen to your insight on not making your relationship a priority.
Yeah, and that's significant, right? Especially for those of us who serve, and especially when we are away from home. Here, as you said, with the rotational unit, that's one of the things that we're trying to stress is making sure that our soldiers in the unit who are away from their families are always finding ways to get plugged in and to make sure that that the other party in the marriage knows that they are still making family and their relationship the priority.
Yeah.
We're here to serve, we're here to do our duty, and to serve our country with great love, loyalty, and allegiance. But I would dare not put any more or any less of that loyalty, love, and allegiance and passion into those most critical relationships that I possess.
Being in the military, where I see the struggle at more on my side of things is in the leadership, the ones that has more responsibility. I think they get too bogged up in meetings and things like that where especially being on a deployment where they work so long that when they get home it's like, man, I got no time to do anything but sleep and then wake up and then start over. So what can you give the listeners out there that are in a leadership position?
Well, I mean, in the leadership role, they have got to be aware of their own balance, right? As a part of the leadership tools and skills that they receive in various schools or trainings, those are some of the critical components, man. Knowing where your balance is, knowing what your strong suit is, knowing when you are waning, being able to identify when you're not at your optimum, and how do you get there. And the greater majority of that training and education always revolves around the team, right? And so making sure that team concept is not just for those who fall under your command, but also that team that keeps you, the individual, where you need to be in the right state and the like. So your family team, your partner, right? You do it together. You may not be in our circumstance here as a rotational unit, may not be with our partners, but we're no less with them just because we're away or separated by distance.
Yeah.
So, I'm making sure that we've got our set check-in times so that we can meet. Occasionally we'll have, coffee time, we're FaceTiming or our version of a breakfast. I might be eating breakfast, she might be eating dinner, whatever the case might be. But we find those times to, with a concerted effort, to connect. And I think leadership struggles with that, but I also think that it is a major struggle, and I can't say that leaders struggle more than our junior soldiers do as well. Because one of the things that I identify, those individuals who our leaders, senior leaders, of course, who've already been married for quite some time, they've got some skin in the game. They got some experience, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of our junior soldiers, they don't. And they don't have the skill sets. They haven't figured out how do I actually make, we've got a lot of people in our unit who have been married for less than 6 months. And now they're here at deployment,
Yeah.
So how do I make that work? So those are the kind of things that we still try to make sure that everybody knows. This is the same messaging, whether you're a senior leader or whether you're a junior leader. You've got to find a time to make your significant other, your spouse, your kids, the priority.
Yeah.
You've got those check-in times.
There you go. And also, do you recommend, because I was actually on the Strong Bonds too, so do you recommend those, those, I would say programs or those, that chance to get out and go to those events? That's held?
Absolutely. I think, if you are if you're serving in the military and you're not taking advantage of every opportunity and every resource that the military offers us, I don't know what to say about you. I think you really should be engaged, not just because it's something to do, but they are very productive. They're informative. They're enriching. The strong bonds for the single soldiers, geo bachelors, or as well as married couples, and we even have strong bonds created for families as a whole. Take advantage of that because they are really enriching experiences. It's like having a vacation all at the same time where you're getting just major training.
Family and all.
Yeah.
And y'all also take care of kids too. So you winning. You winning. There you go. Hey, great conversations going on here on the 2ID Warrior Wednesday. We got your career update. Keep your ear to the station. Get some late and greatest news. Train. Play that song right here. AFN, what's going on? If you're just tuning in, you know you're dead wrong. I'm Army Sergeant Delon Humphrey, DJ Wanye on the Lunchtime Special 2ID Warrior Wednesday. We got Chaplain Bell in the studio from the Rotational Brigade, and we talked about suicide, and we also talked about relationship issues, how you can solve those issues and places you can seek out and all that good stuff, all right? Mm-hmm. So, closing out, do you want to say anything to the listeners out there?
Well, I'm just glad to be a part. Sergeant Humphreys, I appreciate being able to be here and rock with you, and definitely want to thank, of course, the leadership and then all of the men and women from the 3rd AD Brigade. We had a good time with you this morning.
Outstanding. I appreciate you, sir. All right, continuing on, we got your career spots, and then we're going to go into your weather. Keep your ear to the station. We got Mine coming up next.